Start off today by asking a question. And by a show of hands, who has ever played the game of chess? Or checkers? So, as we know, in the game of chess and checkers, you have these different pieces that you're moving around the board, trying to catch your opponent off guard and trying to capture your opponent's pieces, and then checkmate the other player's king. Did you know that we, today, right now, this very second, all of us are in a war? This war has been fought over for centuries. Over 3,000 years, this war has been fought. And this is not against Afghanistan, it's not against Iraq, it's not at the southern border of America. This war has been going on globally. Globally for thousands of years. And in this war, we are all a part of it, whether we like it or not. We are all part of this war, whether we are Christian or not Christian. And in this war, there are two beings that are fighting for control of Earth. But even more importantly, fighting for control of our souls. Our souls are the most important things to these two beings. I want you to imagine a table with a checkerboard or a chessboard. But this is not your ordinary chessboard. This chessboard is Earth. This chessboard is Earth. And on either side of this table, you got God, you have Satan. And these two have all these different pieces lined up in a row. God knows exactly which piece he's going to play at exactly the right time. It's predestined. From the very beginning of time, he knows exactly which piece he's going to play. Now, let me break this down. When did this war actually start? A lot of people will say, well, this war started with the fall of Adam and Eve. That's probably a usual, normal response. And at first, a few days ago, I was thinking, yeah, that's when it started, when the serpent came and tempted Adam and Eve, and the fall of man. But as I began thinking about it and reading a little deeper, I realized that's not when all of this started. In Colossians 1:16, it says that God created everything. All things were created through him and for him. All things. And that would include the angels. God created the angels, his army, his defenders of heaven. They are created perfectly. But as we know, one angel, the greatest, who was supposed to be the greatest, the most beautiful angel, wanted something more. He wanted more power. He didn't want to live under God's rule. Revelation chapter 12 talks about the battle of heaven. The angels that stayed with God fought against the devil as a dragon, and the dragon took with him a third of all the angels. That's a lot. That is a lot of the host of heaven. God's first move was to create the angels. Puts the angels out on the chessboard. Satan's first move to counter that was rebellion. He rebelled against God and was cast out. No longer was a place found for him or the angels that he took with him. So this game has been going back and forth and back and forth. Somebody makes one move, the other one counters it. This one makes a move, the other one counters it. Back and forth they go for thousands of years. So what does God do in response to Satan's rebellion? Puts man out on the board. First man, Adam. Creates Adam on the sixth day. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27 talks about how God created man in his image. And God said, "This is good. This is very good." And for a long time, man lived in peace and harmony with God in the beautiful Garden of Eden. But Satan had been cast down. He had been cast down from heaven, wouldn't you know it, to earth. And he responds to God's move of making this good creation of man by becoming a serpent, coming down into the garden and asking the first woman, Eve, "Did God tell you to not to eat of this tree?" "Yes, we are not to eat of this tree of the knowledge of good and evil, or we will die." That is what God said. So Eve is showing a little backbone, right? She is plainly telling Satan, this is what God said, so we're not going to do it. But Satan, being who he is, in Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 through 6, "You will not surely die. No. You eat of this, you're going to become like God. You're going to become wise." And Eve, seeing this fruit, whatever the fruit was, we'll say an apricot. I'm not a big fan of apricots, so just say an apricot. When Eve saw the apricots growing on this tree, she said, "Those do look really good." Lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, pride of life. She begins the process of seeing this fruit and realizing this really does look good. And this is going to make me wise? Adam comes over. "You got to try this. This is amazing." And they begin realizing something's not right. Something is not right. They realize for the first time in their lives, they're naked. God comes down and says, "Who told you you were naked?" And they begin to tell him, "The serpent did it. The woman did it." All right. Fall of man. Fall of man was Satan's next move. And there are four big moves that God and Satan have in this 1,000-year battle of chess. And when I say chess, I'm not trying to downplay the severity of the war that's been going on. Not at all. God knows exactly what he's doing in this game. Satan, he's also got all these different pieces lined up. But both of them have two moves each that I consider to be the biggest moves that both of them could do. And Satan just played the first one, the fall of man. All right, Cain and Abel. God then blesses Adam and Eve with two sons. His next move. Cain and Abel are born to Adam and Eve. And for a while, these two boys are living peacefully. One working in the fields, the other working with the animals. Till one day, the two boys bring offerings to God. Abel brings the best of his flock. Cain brings the best of his food. God accepts Abel, does not accept Cain. Satan's next move. He takes Cain, puts him on the board, and Cain walks over, kills Abel, knocks him off the board completely. Satan's next move was to create death in the world, the first murder to have ever occurred. And like I said, these has been going on. It continued for many, many years. This battle of going back and forth, Satan would make a move that the whole world was now evil. But God had a special piece. One of the last righteous men on earth. And he puts Noah onto the board. And he says, "Noah, I want you to build an ark." Takes the ark, puts it on the board. Noah builds the ark, saves his family, saves two of every kind of clean animal. The waters recede, and they start anew. As time goes on, the Israelites get taken by the Egyptians. This is one of Satan's big moves. To take the Israelites, put them into slavery. God counters that move by taking Moses, putting him on the board, and Moses goes, tells Pharaoh, let my people go, let God's people go. Gets the people out of slavery, walks across the Red Sea. The Red Sea parts, and they walk on dry land to freedom. There are many heroes in the Bible. There are many villains in the Bible. You got Goliath, you got Haman, you got the Romans, Pharisees. But each time Satan made a move, God countered it. He knew exactly who he wanted to place. David, kill Goliath. Esther, save your people from Haman. Then we get to what I would consider right. After Cain killed Abel, God blessed Adam and Eve with one other son, Seth. Without Seth, this is important, without Seth, he was the reason that righteousness could still exist, that Christians following God could still exist. God made a move, and Eve bore Seth to make that way possible. That's why you have Noah, being the one righteous person on earth that God saw and had him save his family, the animals, and start over again. Now, we get to really the biggest part of this whole game, this whole battle, this war. The New Testament. God does his first big move. Takes a secret piece, puts Jesus onto the field. Jesus comes in the form of a baby, performs miracles, and he is to be the Savior of the world. He's to be the Savior, to save the people from their sins. How exactly? How is Jesus going to save the people from their sins? Well, Satan, he's got another big move. He's got one big move that he is sure, he is absolutely positive, is going to checkmate God. He is so sure of it that he's like, God is never going to be able to block this. The crucifixion, the cross. He has the Pharisees, the Jews, take Jesus, put him on the cross, kill him. And I can just imagine when that happens, when Jesus gives up his last breath, I can just imagine Satan getting up from the table and start dancing. I won, I won. All the while, God has one more piece in his back pocket that he's been saving this whole time. This whole time, God knew exactly where this was going to go. He knew from the very beginning that he was going to send his son, that he was going to be crucified. But in his back pocket, he had one special piece that Satan did not know. The resurrection. What Satan did not know is by killing Jesus, Jesus was going to beat death. Death was not the final part. Oh no, it was not the final part of the story. It was really only the beginning. Jesus knew exactly why he came to earth, to save the people. And he knew, he told his disciples many times, on the third day, I'm going to come back. But Satan, when he kills Jesus, he's all celebrating. And God says, well, looks like you have defeated him, but you haven't defeated me. Resurrection. And I can just imagine Satan being all excited. Wait. But I had you. I won. And God says, no. I've had this planned since the beginning. My son was going to rise up from the grave, alive, beating death, beating you, Satan. That was the final big move that God had. Jesus comes back. Then he ascends back into heaven. And a lot of people would think, well, I guess that's it. That's the end of the story. No, the story doesn't end there. You see, there's one other person at this table waiting his chance or their chances to play this game. Waiting for their chance to move their pieces around the board and try to defeat Satan. Satan is still out there. Satan is still out there right now. He's still moving his pieces around throughout all of history. And there are many Christians out there in the world today, many missionaries, who are on the other side of the table doing the exact same thing, moving their pieces around, their faith, their hope, their love, and going into different countries and bringing lessons, bringing people to Christ, bringing messages of hope of Jesus. These are the ones who are still fighting against Satan in this war. You. You. It is up to you. It is up to you. When Jesus went back into heaven, he told his disciples, go into all the world. Preach the gospel to everyone. He who believes and is baptized will be saved. He who does not believe will be condemned. Mark 16:15 and 16. Let's read together Matthew chapter 5, 14 through 16. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor does anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Jesus has left it up to us. He has left it up to us to be the light of the world. A city that cannot be hidden. We must let our light shine before men in this world, in this dark world, because this world needs a light. And we, as Christians, as missionaries, as teachers, as preachers, we are to be that light. And let it shine in such a way that they may see the good works that we are doing through Christ, through God, so that they may glorify our Father who is in heaven. And through that, we can bring more people to Christ by baptizing them into Him, into His blood, so that they, in turn around and do the same to others. It's a chain reaction, right? It's a chain reaction that Jesus started. When He came, taught about God, taught about Himself, went back into heaven and left it up to us. Now here's kind of the big thing. He left it up to us to make our decision of who we want to follow. Are we going to play on the side of God and be heroes, be missionaries, be teachers? Or are we going to side with darkness? It's a command from Jesus to go into the world and be lights. And that doesn't mean always bring a flashlight or a candle with you wherever you go. Just you. And if you're not sure what move you should make next in this game, this war, know that Jesus, that God, wrote His Word, the Bible, which has all the answers in it. God says, if you don't know what move to make next, here's your next move. Just go through the Bible and you say, oh, that's what I should do. That's what I should be doing. This is what I should not be doing. I know what move I'm going to make next. It's up to us. Because Jesus is going to come back. He is going to come back one day. And when He does, He's going to take all those who have obeyed Him to heaven. Not everyone's going to make it. Not everyone's going to make it. But that is why we need to keep fighting and keep showing our light, the light of Christ, to the world. So that in the end, when Jesus comes and takes us home, we can checkmate the devil. That should be our purpose. That should be our purpose.